Fans of both AEW and video games are waiting patiently for more news on when we can expect an AEW console game to be released. Well, Kenny Omega spoke to TalkSport recently and gave an update. Here is what he said in that interview. I'm really excited. We're always in contact almost every day with our teams at Ukes. I'm always in contact with Gaeta-san as well, and I feel like we've got a really good chemistry and dynamic with one another. The biggest challenge we have right now is kind of representing the current wrestling style in a way that still make it feel like the games of old, because things have changed. It's not the same wrestling climate as it was in 2000. And in previous interviews, we have heard Kenny Omega talk about how they want to create a wrestling game sort of similar to WWF No Mercy or the games of the past that got such good reviews. So Omega continued in the interview. As you know, we've kind of crossed over into a new generation of wrestling, and wrestling styles and certain types of wrestling never ages. I wrestle a certain way, and the way that I wrestle may not be the way that Phoenix or Jungle Boy wrestles, but how can we represent all of those styles in a way where it makes you feel as if you're playing as those people? How do we make that mesh well in an actual wrestling game? So it certainly sounds like Omega is paying close attention to mixing the new style of wrestling with the old style of wrestling video game. Omega continued to say, "The cool part is we've got a team at Ukes that's prepared to challenge themselves and make something representative of the good smackdowny stuff that they can do, and then Gaeta is there to add his flavor to it as to how he would have made a newer style game. And we're all sort of just bouncing back and forth. We were always working on all types of things for the game, but the main core focus right now still is, let's get the wrestling down. Let's make sure we're able to make it feel like this is wrestling in 2021, but it still feels like No Mercy. But it still can be fun for not only the wrestling fan, but the casual gamer who picks up a controller and drops his friend on his head." Now, unfortunately for fans who are hoping to see an AEW video game be released this year, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and that we're looking at about at least 1 year's time before the game is released. Here is what Kenny Omega said on when fans can expect the game to be released. He said, "I wouldn't say years, plural. I would say in a perfect world, give it about a year's time. We're working really hard, and we're lucky to have two teams, one in America and one in Japan, working on this almost around the clock. We do know that time is of the essence. We can't let this sit around forever, and people want a game like yesterday. So we do want to release something as soon as we feel it's ready and representative of what our brand should be and what will make fans happy." He continued to say, however, that he does not want a situation similar to the Cyberpunk release. He said, "Again, we don't want a Street Fighter V launch, we don't want a Cyberpunk launch, so we're going to create something that will be fun to play from day one, but it will be ever evolving as our roster is. As great as it is on launch, as our roster grows, let's say we add a pay-per-view name, add a new arena, let's say we sign whoever, anybody. We want to be able to support those new additions as well." So it sounds like he's talking about possible DLC roster downloads. And finally, Omega said, it's gonna hopefully be what people are hoping for. Hopefully the new addition/update will be really prompt. That's the plan anyway. So everyone can feel up to date with our roster and how AEW grows. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notifications bell so you don't miss out on any more news or reports from Spoiler Free Wrestling.